put issues on the turf of our neighborhoods. And so you represent that turf, and we represent sort of an effort to discern what it is that we can have and use that God is doing in our neighborhoods. Our goal is to have 2 of these seminars a year. Is that right, Samuel? That's what we're going to do. And this is the first. So I'm going to have you, Samuel, come up here and introduce our speaker for the evening.
This evening, as David mentioned, we are beginning with our first lecture in what we hope to be many lectures dealing with religion and society. Public lectures on dealing with issues of religion and society, the intersection of Christianity and other religious faiths and our world. I want to thank Good Shepherd for their collaboration with Union Theological Seminary. I also want to thank, today I'm being formal, Dr. Ruth Corbin for your contributions to helping begin and start these lectures. I also want to thank Dr. Serene Jones, the president of Union Theological Seminary, the first woman president of Union Theological Seminary. Why don't we give her And we're excited that our first speaker in this series of lectures is Dr. Michelle Gonzalez Maldonado. She is Assistant Professor of Religious Studies at the University of Miami. She received a PhD in Systematic and Philosophical Theology at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, California. Her research and teaching interests include Latin American and feminist theologies, as well as interdisciplinary work in Afro-Caribbean studies. She is the author of Sor Juana, Beauty and Justice in the Americas, Afro-Cuban Theology, Religion, Race, Culture, and Identity, Created in God's Image, An Introduction to Feminist Theological Anthropology, and Embracing Latina Theology, A Woman's Perspective. And she is currently finishing a Caribbean religious history co-authored with Ennis Edmonds, forthcoming 2010. Welcome.
Good evening. I want to thank you all for coming this evening to hear me speak. And I also want to begin by thanking Samuel Cruz for the invitation to be with you tonight. As a graduate of Union Theological Seminary, it was quite emotional for me to go to Union today, since I hadn't been on campus since I graduated with my master's in 1996. As those of you who may be somewhat familiar with my work may recognize, the topic of dialogue and collaboration with African Americans and Hispanics is one that is fundamental to my research and to my pedagogy. Through my research on Afro-Cuban religion and culture, the fundamental unity of Black and Latino studies is clear. However, when we move to the Latino and African American context, things become a bit more complicated at times. In my remarks, I want to make a very sharp distinction between Black and African American. The former is a racial category, while the latter is cultural. And, you know, an example that always comes to mind to me are my students at the University of Miami.